So this is my next Gaslands build. This is a Whizz VW hot rod. As you can see, it's a twin-engined VW Beetle. Initial plans were going to be to jack it up and put on some big off-road tyres. Whilst I was looking for some parts on Autokill, I found these awesome little robot legs. And I like the idea of giving it these robot legs. Also, I'm building it for a sci-fi build, so these kind of help with the whole idea. Still not too sure about weapons. One idea is to go with like a sci-fi military theme. The other idea is to go with like a bug theme, since VW Beetles are called bugs, and it's now going to have legs. I do like the idea of maybe adding some machine gun headlights and then maybe a turret on the roof, but I'll probably decide that as I go. Another thing I want to do is obviously make the legs work, because they're really only designed to be glued in place, but I do actually want them to be able to move, so I can try and animate this thing walking. So that should be fun. So I'll see you in the next clip. So here's some more progress on this VW Beetle. Thinking of calling this Bug Out, but I'm still not 100% sure. I want Bug in the name, just because obviously Beetle, Bug. I just like the idea of calling it something Bug. We've got the Autokill mech legs, which I have modified and pinned so that it will move and such. This is so I can animate this thing walking later on. We've got some Autokill guns at the front. For these, I drilled out the headlights with my little hand drill, which took forever, and then glued these in, which I think are from the Canon sprue. I'll put the actual sprue name here, like usual. The same with the turret, which I think is also part of the same sprue, but again, I'll put it here. Scratch built the side armour and some little ladders and a little handrail. I did saw off with a grinder the side pipes that were here. I'm not entirely sure where these little bits are for the window armour. They were just in my parts box, so I'm not entirely sure where they came from, but I think they were from Zane Industries. If I remember what sprue they were, I'll put it down here. For the engine bits, they're from a Chemsol Design engine sprue, engine part, should I say. Same with the rocket pads there. The rocket pads are also from Chemsol Designs. There's two different ones. Obviously they look better once they're painted up. Moving on to the back, we've got these two exhausts, which again from Autokill, from the Autokill exhaust sprue. These two I've just built out of styrene, gluing them onto the original one, because originally there is dual exhaust at the back here. Initially I did decide to drill them out, but it didn't look that right, so I just used some styrene tubing. I am going to have to go over it with some green stuff, because it kind of looks like a mess at the moment. I also want to take some green stuff and fill in the gaps between the wheels, the wheel arches, just because you can kind of see through it, and just to clean it up a bit. So far that's it. I'm still trying to figure out what kind of paint scheme I'm going to go with. One hand I do want to do a military theme, but still not 100% sure, so you'll see in the next bit. So I'll see you all in the next clip. So here's the final part to this build. I'm going to be calling this one the Battlebug, because initially I was going to call it Bug Out, but I think the Battlebug sounds a lot better and fits its appearance more. So initially I built this for a sci-fi group build. The theme was sci-fi vehicles, and this was obviously very Crossout inspired. Unfortunately, when I finished the paint job, it was cutting it kind of close to the deadline for the group build, and I just bought some more Citadel Newell oil. Unfortunately, that comes in two different versions, shade and gloss, and I didn't realise I'd bought gloss, and so I painted it and then left it, expecting it to dull down when it dried, and it didn't, because it was the gloss, and there was no time to repaint it, so I kind of just shelved the whole thing for a bit, mostly because I knew I'd have to strip the whole thing down to strip the paint off and repaint it, and the likelihood of me breaking it whilst I was stripping it down to repaint it, I didn't really want to destroy all my hard work, so I kind of shelved it until I could think of something else to do with it. Initially the original paint job is a camo with like two greys and just some regular old camo pattern that I just made up. Anyway, whilst it was on the shelf, I did come up with an idea of it probably would be sat outside a lot more because of its unusual shape. So it would be exposed to the elements and get very rusty. Hence, I just dry brushed a lot of rust on it and then went over the top with another matte black wash to kind of dull it down a bit. It's kind of glossy in places, but it's a lot dulled down to what it was, because it just was very glossy and kind of ruined the build, and I was very upset it ruined it. And again, I didn't want to have to strip it down because the legs all move and such, and so is the turret. So if I tear it apart, it would have been because these were a bit of a nightmare to get to work in the first place, because I do intend to animate with it at some point. So yeah, I didn't want to destroy all my hard work for nothing, so I kind of just shelved it. Although I did say this is very inspired by the Crossout vehicles, such as the spider tanks, it was actually inspired by these kits, which yes, I do intend to build at some point. For those of you who can't see, it's a Fist of War German World War II E75 Heavy Panzer by a company called Modelcollect in 1/72 scale. So I will be building that in the near future. I've got a few other videos to get released. Got a few other videos to make and a few other vehicles I already started work on to finish first, but that's definitely coming up in the future, and it's going to be going alongside this. In fact, I do intend to animate the pair of them together at some point, but at the moment, if you've seen my update video, my camera kind of died and I've been stuck to use my phone, which has been more frustrating than anything else, and just a very long drawn out process, and I've tried to limit the amount of animations I'm working on. I may not be doing any because of just how long and frustrating it is to use the camera on my phone as opposed to a proper camera, but hopefully I'll be getting a camera soon, so you know. Anyway, like usual, there'll be a nice little slideshow at the end with some detailed photos of this. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.